Just taking it slow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this back on a Monday edition of Drive Time here. It's now November 17th as the year continues to get shorter and shorter. The daylight gets shorter and shorter. I am joined once again by my fearless co-hosts, Showtime Sarah and Scooter. Showtime, how are we doing today?
We're good. Time is a Monday indeed, and I'm trying to regroup myself going into the new week.
That's always a good thing, especially with school, because you're
Scooter,
getting to the final countdown
as he
here.
Reloads.
I'm reloading.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, there you are. At least for me on my screen.
Scooter's reloading, I think.
I am?
Oh, there you are.
Well,
now we're good.
What'd I do?
Nothing now. Now we're here.
Good to be back, though. Good to be back.
Yeah, so how was I'll give you a quick second. What did you do for Veterans Day? Because I know it was awesome. I want to give you a second to plug it, what you did in the community. So go ahead and take a quick second and plug what you did in the community.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, we had a Vietnam veteran sing the national anthem outside of the restaurant. It's cold, but everyone got up and came outside at 12 noon. Our guest of honor was a Korean War veteran, 91 years old. He's on the Delaware Governor's Commission on Veteran Affairs. He is active. He was standing around and walking around for about 3 hours talking to everyone. Boy, the veterans are great. We gave out over 400 free sandwiches, just our restaurant alone. So it was great times. It was an all-day event. So I was there as the show last week was airing. So I couldn't make it.
Hey, that's quite okay. It's a very awesome thing that you did. So I'm glad that you're able to do that. So thanks for everything that you do for the veterans.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's always appreciated. So I wanted to give you a chance to plug that for sure. So, all right. Well, with that being said, should we get into it, everybody? Let's get into our show. We'll start off with some baseball awards that were announced this week. We'll go through the big ones. I don't really think any of these were totally what I would call surprises. I think most of these were kind of what you thought you'd see. Stephen Vogt wins and Pat Murphy from Milwaukee. So you have the Cleveland manager and the Milwaukee manager both win the second straight year, the Manager of the Year award. The last to do it on the NL side was Bobby Cox in Atlanta in 2004-2005. Kevin Cash just did it for Tampa Bay back in 2020, 2021. I don't think it's really a surprise. Milwaukee, again, had another solid year with everything that Vogt had to deal with Cleveland with the two pitchers. They lose a pitcher and Penn Lively at the start of the year to injury. Then you had two more pitchers who get suspended for gambling. They were 10 games out of, or 5 games behind 500 at the All-Star break. Of course, 11 games behind Detroit, and they come back to win the division. So I think that's what gave him the nod over John Schneider in Toronto, who also had an incredible year, taking Toronto from last to first in the AL East. But to say that Toronto had a bit more money to spend on that roster and doing that is, the obvious statement. So all in all, I don't think that either one of these two should be a surprise to anybody. Any surprises there for you guys?
No, well, it would have been a surprise. Let's just put it this way. Vogt winning, it was those last 2 weeks. What they did those last 2 weeks coming from out of nowhere. Like, better than anyone. We were talking about like 3 weeks out of the end of the season. We were like, maybe Cleveland, we're looking at them. They're 4 games out, whatever. Maybe if they get on some crazy run. Oh, they went on a run all right. And that's what won him that. If it wasn't, it was Schneider up there. But those last 2 weeks, Cleveland crushed it.
Agree. Sarah, anything on those two that surprised you?
No, Vogt is definitely the most familiar name for me. I'm still kind of getting into the baseball terms, or just players overall and coaches, managers, etc. But Vogt definitely does not surprise me. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure Murphy's whereabouts, but not going to doubt it.
And just to help you for later, it's Vogt, Stephen Vogt. V. I know it's
Hog.
it's like pronounced vote. It's like pronounced like vote, like you vote, but
Vote for vote.
Vote for vote, exactly. All right, Rookie of the Year, Nick Kurtz. This was a unanimous one. Wins the AL. He just dominated for the Oakland. Well, I'm still calling them the Oakland A's. I'm sorry, I can't. Whatever they call themselves, the A's. They're the Oakland A's until they officially move to Vegas. I think next year they officially will be the Sacramento A's, but I'm calling them the Oakland A's. Damn it, I don't care what anyone says. And then Drake Baldwin wins it for the Atlanta Braves. Kurtz was unanimous. He hit 36 homers in just 101 games. So he would have been on pace to hit, I think it was 58 if he would have, had the full season. And batted 290. Baldwin had 19 homers, 270. He batted 274. So I think both of these were pretty much. I mean, Baldwin was the unanimous, but he had most of the first place votes. So I don't really think there's any surprise for either one of these two guys either. Everyone's
Great players. Can't wait to see what they do next year and years after.
I know. I mean, Oakland's got a really talented team. When they are well, of course, that's the whole problem is can they keep these guys long enough? They love to play the money ball game, and sometimes they get rid of guys a little bit sooner. But man, they get rid of Kurtz, that's going to be a big mistake for them for sure. Yeah. No surprise here either in the Cy Young. Tariq Skubal wins it in the AL. He goes back to back. He's the 13th pitcher to do it. Joins names like Kershaw, Lincecum, Clemens, Maddox, Palmer, McClain, and Koufax. So a pretty damn good list to join. Paul Skeens wins his first in the NL. He was the unanimous winner as well. He's the first player to win Rookie of the Year and then Cy Young in back-to-back seasons. The only other two pitchers that have done that before him were guys named Dwight Gooden and Fernando Valenzuela. So, these two guys are kind of joining some elite company by winning their Cy Young awards. But again, same thing here. Like, I know there was some talk about Yamamoto for the Cy Young for LA, but Skeens had an incredible season. If he just was on the team that could produce any type of runs for him, he would have had a hell of a lot better record than what he ended up having this year. But that's not really his fault. He had a sub-2 ERA.
Did you guys see the side-by-side from when Skeens won Rookie of the Year last year and then won the Cy Young this year, his reaction, how he has a little bit more reaction this time than from last year?
Just a smidge more, yeah. That was pretty funny. I did see that. That was very good.
But I'll tell you what, Skubal, I mean, the names along with Skubal those are some of the classic Major League Baseball pitchers of all time right there. Yeah. So, the sky's the limit there. In Skeens, Fernando Valenzuela and Dwight Gooden, those are iconic pitchers of Major League Baseball. They're both they are Dodger and Met greats, two of the best that ever played for those teams. So we're looking at some great talent. This has been one heck of a baseball season for the young guys.
It's definitely the who's of list of pitchers to be on for sure. And nothing really crazy here either on the AL side. Shohei Ohtani also wins the MVP on the NL side as a unanimous decision. It's his fourth MVP in 5 years, his third straight unanimous win. The only one that has more MVPs now is a guy named Barry Bonds, who won it 7 times, and he's the only other one to win it 3 times in a row. Aaron Judge edges out Cal Raleigh. This was probably going to be the closest one, but I don't really think anyone's surprised that Aaron Judge won it or could say that he didn't deserve to win it. I think it's one of those ones where both players kind of deserved it. You could make an argument for either or. I kind of wanted to see Cal win it just because it's different, but I can't argue with Aaron Judge winning it. It's his second straight, and it's also his third and fourth years. Yes, I know. So we'll give Sarah a chance. You want to go ahead and get it out of the way now?
I hate Aaron Judge.
There it is.
Why? Why couldn't it have been Cal? I don't like. The Yankees just own the MLB, and it's sad because they can't have different players win different things. Like, whatever. But got it out. It's fine.
There you go. Get out of your system. All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this about Aaron Judge over Cal Raleigh. There are people that are like you're hearing that right now from Showtime. There are people that think that Cal Raleigh got smoke jobbed on this one. But, let's be honest here, okay? No. Aaron Judge hit 331 in 53 home runs.
I don't care.
Kyle Raleigh hit 60 home runs, which is unbelievable. And he only batted 247. So if Kyle Raleigh won the MVP, he would have had the lowest average in the history of the MVP voting. And the only one that was the worst right now is some guy named, I don't know, Shohei Ohtani, who batted like 253 with the Angels, but he also he won like 13 wins that season too. So that's why he won the MVP with such a low. Now I understand now, like they say, Cal Raleigh, well, he didn't, no pass balls. He was okay. That's great. No pass balls does not win you the MVP. He certainly should be the Golden Glove winner of catching, but there's no question about that. Obviously, he's the best catcher in baseball. Maybe even he could come up as one of the great in all time. But Aaron Judge, he was 20 percentage points better than the second place batter with that batting average. So he had 331. I forgot who it was. They had 311. So he crushed that. And only Jimmy Fox, Mickey Mantle have won the batting title with 50-plus home runs. And both years they also won the MVP. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a big Yankee fan. Everyone knows that, but I can't really argue with Judge winning the MVP. It's a hard argument to make. And they did make the playoffs. I think if the Yankees don't make the playoffs, maybe Cal Raleigh wins it.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I agree with that, 100%.
But that's the thing though. With when you talk about Ohtani with the Angel years, him and Trout, like what always frustrated me the most of those two winning the MVPs was that the Angels didn't even make it to the playoffs. So how are they the MVP when their team didn't even make it to the playoffs? But
right.
That's a whole different soapbox.
I get that. When you're special, like Ohtani is a special player.
True.
Because of what he does all over the place. So you could see that. Now, okay, like Trout, okay, that's a difference. So he's an unbelievable hitter in fielder, but try to make the playoffs.
Ray checking in. You could see hard to deny the greatness that is Aaron Judge. Go Yankees. There you go. Showtime just for you. So Ray, appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All right. So with that being said, let's get into some college football, shall we? So let's start a little college football. Now, I do have to start close to home. And my boys took care of the Akron Zips last week. They really did try to piss this game away. They were up 35-17 in the third quarter. They give up 3 late touchdowns in the field goal to Akron. So Akron actually ties this game at 35. It goes to overtime. We get a touchdown on the first play of overtime on a nice little pass play. And then we actually got a 4-and-out from our defense, which was amazing. So Kent State wins the game 42-35. They improved to 4-6. They've got a tough game this week on Wednesday night against Central, who's 6-4 and battling for first place in the division to go to the MAC championship game. So I really doubt that they're going to beat Central Michigan. But if by some chance they pull that off, they then they go to Northern Illinois for the last game. So there is still an outside chance that Kent State could get to 6-6 and be bowl eligible. Which after 0-12 last year and 1-11 the year before, and the way this season started, would be just an amazing feat. I mean, like that, whatever bowl they would get into, they will get killed. I have no confidence in them beating a Power 5 school, but at the same time, just the turnaround that Mark Carney has made with this team in a short bit of time. Again, none of these players are his. Like, he was an assistant coach last year. He got the interim label, which was just removed. So he's winning this without really being able to recruit anyone of his own. But he's gotten these kids to buy into it. So I'm a proud Kent State grad as they keep this thing going.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So you may know, you may not even know. How has the academics of the Kent State football team been over the past 3 years? There's a reason I'm asking that. You may know why.
They're usually pretty good. I mean, I don't know their exact GPA, but Kent State's always prided themselves on being, I think they're usually a 3-pointer or higher, with last time I recall. So, I mean, that's the one thing Kent State's, all of their athletics have been, that they're usually up at the top of each sports team in the MAC for their GPAs.
The reason I ask this is because there's actually, if they do become 6-6, they are eligible.
Right.
Doesn't mean they get a bowl. There's only so many bowls.
Correct.
I mean, there's 1 million bowls. There's not, 2 million teams, over 2 million teams. But one of the ways to get in to beat other 6-6 teams is to have a good, consistent academic record for your football team over the past several years. So
And that they
Kansas
do have.
State is good academic players. They could make it in because of that.
Hey, I'll take whatever gets them into a bowl
Yeah.
game. But again, it won't matter if they don't beat Central this week, and I'm
Right.
not very confident they're going to beat Central. Central's a good team in the MAC, so we'll see how that all goes.
Mhm.
But even if they end up 5-7 this year, like that's a win for me. It's just it's
5 more than last year.
yeah, 5 more than last year, 4 more than the year before that, and they're no longer the laughing stock of the sport. So I'll take that. All right. But that wasn't really, I mean, let's be honest, that's not what we're really here to talk about. There were some really good upsets this week, so we'll get into the craziness that this was. Clemson started it off on Friday night. They finally get a good win. They beat number 20 Louisville, and these ranked by rankings, these are what they were ranked in the college football playoff. So Louisville was 20 going into this one. I'm sure they will fall out of that now. That was one upset. Then this was probably the big one. It really hurt South Florida for that battle for that 5th conference champion spot that's going to get into it. Navy just the game ended up looking closer. It was 41-38, but Navy had a big lead early, then held on for dear life at the end. So they took down number 24 South Florida, and this one probably dooms Cincinnati for sure. Arizona, beats Cincinnati. Cincinnati still does have an outside shot because they still could get into the Big 12 championship game if they beat BYU this week. But that's a big if at this point in time. So they still could somehow weasel their way into it, but I think that's a big loss. So those were the 3 big upsets there. I don't really think any of them were a total surprise to me. Sarah, any of these a surprise to you?
I will say the Clemson and Louisville game was back and forth. I caught like the last glimpse of it, and like I think it was Clemson had the lead, and then Louisville took it back, and then Clemson got it back, and obviously ended the game with it. It was really back and forth, really close, and it's just like, so kudos. I will say kudos to Louisville for trying, because it was still very back and forth. But the thing is, Clemson's too late to be doing this. They're not like it's not going to help them do anything. They're too late to be pulling off these nice little upsets. They're not. It doesn't really improve my opinion of them being a good team this year.
Yeah, I probably agree with you on that. I don't. Yeah, I mean they're going to get into a bowl game still because I think they'll have enough wins for that. But yeah, it's I'm sure to them it's going to be a disappointment not being in the playoff. Scott, any thought on these 3 or any on these ones catch your eye?
Well, the one that catches my eye is Navy defeats South Florida. Okay, so South Florida was all the thing earlier in the year. And, they're a good team. There's no question about that. But so is Navy. Navy's been a really good team. And this shouldn't it's because of the rankings. No one should be surprised that Navy defeated South Florida. Navy's good. And in fact, they're good enough where they're still in the college playoff hunt.
They could.
Whoever
wins that American's got the shot at that top 5
yes,
for sure.
They have a shot at that.
Naylor checking in with that Wahoo. All right. Let's see here. So then there were a lot of close calls, and of course the first survival was the big boy, Texas A&M. Number 3 ranked Texas A&M is down 30-3 at the half against South Carolina. How big of a crazy comeback was this in the history of this? If I heard this stat right, and I might be a little bit off on the number, but I know it was in the 200s for sure. In the history of the SEC, any team in an SEC game that was trailing by 27 points or more, their record before this game was 0-236, I believe was the number. It was in the 200s when I heard it on the radio, but it might have been a little bit off from that. But I believe the number I heard was 236. So they were 0 for 236 until Saturday when Texas A&M scores 4 touchdowns in the second half in miraculous fashion and comes back to win this game 31-30. Texas A&M, even if they would have lost this game, they probably still would have gotten into the playoff, even if they lose maybe in the SEC championship game. But they keep the perfect season alive. They just about done everything but clinch the spot in the SEC championship game. They do still have Texas coming up later. So there are still a couple scenarios where they could maybe not get into that game, but they should get in. But what a crazy comeback that was.
Mm-hmm. That was the biggest SEC comeback ever, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because no team had done that before at the half. So crazy. Oh, he's giving the UVA chant called the Wahoos or the Whoos. Yes, I knew they were called the Wahoos, but I wasn't picking up on the Wahoo part of it for being UVA yet. So we will talk. I think UVA is going to come up when we get to our rankings in a little bit here. Is there anything on that game? Did you see any of it or working?
I think I was working, but I remember like looking at the stats, being like, "Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me! There's no way that they're losing." And then they won. I was like, but yeah. But hey, I'm okay. I'm okay with them because like I'm trying to support the Aggies. I'm on the train, so
You're on the train.
I'm glad that they pulled it off. Although it is still a little concerning.
It was, but hey, sometimes I mean South Carolina's a good team too, and I feel bad for their for them because that would have been a nice little win for them. But it's going to be hard. That's got to be a hard locker room when you blow a lead that's of 30-3 to just trying to figure that one out for sure. Speaking of close ones, Georgia Tech does survive another one against BC. I mean BC's it's a typical ACC game at home for them where they do play teams tough at home. Georgia Tech wins this on a late field goal. Keeps that ACC title game shot right there where they need it to be. And again, it wasn't pretty for them, but they got the win.
A win's a win.
A win is
Sometimes
a win.
the not so pretty wins are the best wins you can get all season long.
Yep. And I'm sure Georgia Tech will come up in our conversations here later as well. Another team that's got probably slimmer hopes stays alive. Michigan also needed a last-second field goal. They were ranked number 18 in the last college football playoff one. They take out Northwestern 24-22. I mean, there is still a path for Michigan. Obviously, they play Ohio State. In that last game, they've beaten Ohio State 4 years in a row. If Michigan wins that game against Ohio State, they're going to move up. And, so I mean, there is still a path for Michigan to get in. If they would have lost this game, that would have been shut. So it keeps their slim path alive. And then we had the big boys of the matchups for this week, our top 25. This one, we'll start kind of at the bottom, work our way up. USC, again, another team in the Big Ten, trying to keep their hopes alive. They've got Oregon coming up this week, which will be a big matchup for them, of a possibility of trying to get into this thing. They beat Iowa 26-21. In this game, Iowa's up 14-0 and 21-7 with 3:24 in the second, but USC then gets back into it. They took the lead in the fourth quarter and then held on the rest of the way for a 26-21 win. Any comments on that one?
It's a good game. Good to see USC, back in the mix here. And they're still in. I mean, Oregon coming up. Who knows?
Yeah, they are back, unlike their UCLA folks who are just getting crushed by everyone in the Big Ten this year. And in this one, I think maybe a bit of a surprise just because it was a blowout. I think a lot of people thought the Georgia-Texas game would be competitive, but something to be said about Mr. Manning in these true road games. He just does not play well in these true road games. Like, this is the third time now that he's lost one of these and just does not look good at all. So Georgia 35, Texas 10. This game was really never close. Georgia's defense kind of came out, dominated early, never had a feel that Texas was going to be able to work their way back in this game. And it's now Texas's third loss. I just don't. Maybe they could still get in because they do still play Texas A&M. And you beat Texas A&M, that probably brings them back up. But for right now, I don't think a 3-loss Texas team is going to get in.
Yeah, we'll see, won't we?
That's true. We will see. All right. And then the big boys. This is the first, fun upset. Oklahoma does go into Alabama and takes them out 23-21. OU was up 17-7 early on. The Bama comes back, takes a 21-20 lead. Oklahoma kicks a field goal early in the fourth quarter, 23-21, and then holds on for dear life and wins this game, the score 23-21 to keep their playoff hopes definitely alive. Brings Alabama down some, but again, a 2-loss Alabama. Right now, I still don't think the only thing that they're going to be in jeopardy of is they may not make it into the SEC championship game now. So they're going to lose that extra game. But I still think they're going to be in the 12. I just, unless they lose one of the last games, and I'm sure we'll talk about them later. We'll get into their schedule the rest of the way. I still think they're in. It just is going to knock them down a peg or two.
No quitting them Sooners, huh?
No.
Boomer Sooner.
That was almost a spit take there. I was not ready for that. we almost had our first spit take on the air. That would have been great. All right. And then the big one I know we got some Irish fans in the house. So Notre Dame takes care of Pittsburgh 37-15. Another one of these. Notre Dame dominated early. They went, Love goes down on a 50-yard rushing touchdown. Then they get the pick six. They're up 14-0. Pittsburgh tries to claw their way back into it. But again, another game that with the way Notre Dame's defense just never felt like Pittsburgh was really going to have a legitimate shot at it. So it is a big win for Notre Dame and planting them within this college football, championship talk. So it's definitely, that and the USC wins are Notre Dame's biggest wins of the year for sure. And this was a convincing win for them.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't very confident on Notre Dame either. I watched the first half of this game, and like you said, they kind of just took it away. Notre Dame was just consistent. I mean, kudos to Pitt's defense. It did look a little bit good, but their offense was just not that great. But this helps me feel a little bit more confident about Notre Dame. But obviously, we'll get into it later. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel. It helped me a little bit though.
Well, I thought Notre Dame would lose one of its last two games against Pittsburgh and Syracuse. And I thought this was going to be the game they lose. So, yeah. I mean, they dominated, and they're not going to lose next week either.
Yeah, they should not lose to Syracuse anyway. I don't see them losing to Syracuse, but never say never, right?
Yeah, so it's at home too.
That's why they play the games, as they always say. All right, so this week there's a few matchups.
I'd like to add one game in there that wasn't mentioned was and I'm sure Showtime doesn't want to hear this, and this is
no, please don't do it. Don't do it.
For Miami's aspect of it. Miami playing themselves right back into the playoff because they did beat North Carolina State. Sorry. I mean, they didn't just...
They didn't beat them. They murdered them. I don't know if Anthony's in this chat, but, he said the possibility of us upsetting it, and it completely ruined our odds.
41-7 ruined it.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not surprised because it's NC State. Like I said, anything happens. Whatever you think is going to happen, did I think that we are probably going to lose this game?
Yes. I'm answering for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
There she is. You froze up there a little bit, but yeah, we got you. I mean, look, it's what NC State does. They win games that they're not supposed to win, and then they lose ones that they should win. But this one, I think, was one that they should lose, and they did lose. But yeah, we'll get it
again. Showtime. Sorry, this wasn't about North Carolina State. It was about those guys.
Yes, and they did play them.
They're back.
And I'm sure we'll talk about Miami when we get to
what if Anthony's on? Anthony, you're back.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet, so we'll see.
Anthony.
I'm sure maybe he'll chime in here as we keep going on here. So we do have some big matchups this week to come up. USC 8-2 goes to Oregon 9-1. So again, these were the rankings going into this last week. The new rankings will come out tomorrow night. But this is a big one because I will say this: I'm not sure that a 2-loss Oregon team gets into the playoff, and if Oregon still has an outside chance of getting in the Big Ten championship game if somebody slips up. But that goes away if they lose this game. So, and it's it's going to be USC has to win this game if they really think they're going to get in. So this could be a play-in game into the playoffs because I think the Big Ten is going to get 3 teams. It's obviously going to get Ohio State and Indiana, but I think maybe the winner of this one is that 3rd team.
Could be. Yeah, this should be a good game. We should be looking forward to this game.
Vic was commenting on, I think, that when he talked about the Miami game, to skip that game because he's also a Wolfpack fan. Yeah, so the Wolfpack fans wanted us to skip that game for sure. All right. So that's going to be the first big one. Then, we talk about Pitt. And this is a big game for them because they still have a chance to get into the ACC championship game. And this is against Georgia Tech. So this is also the same thing for Georgia Tech. I think the loser of this one is definitely going to be out. The winner of this one is going to have a good shot to get into the ACC championship game. So we'll see where this one plays out. And Georgia Tech's been kind of hobbling along here lately.
Yeah. Georgia Tech loses this one. This is Miami's shot right there.
Agree. Yeah. Then Miami, I think, gets back into it because I think, I did have the rundown here in Miami. I think it's still going to be hard for them to get into the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
Because they've got what do I have here? I had it listed here. 4 teams have a loss in the ACC. Miami has 2.
Right.
And SMU has the tiebreaker on them, I believe, because SMU beat them. Now, I don't know. I think that's the first tiebreaker in the ACC is the head-to-head, but they could have a weird, whoever's higher in the poll might get into it too. So we'll see how their tiebreakers look. But that's going to be Miami's biggest problem is I still don't know if they have a path into the ACC championship game unless a lot of
That'll
teams
be their
collapse.
problem. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, SMU's got to take care of business too. If they don't, then,
Yep. The gentleman Jack checking in on NC State stuff. Showtime. It's time to start talking basketball in Raleigh, or maybe not. Huh? I don't know how NC State's doing this year to start. And he says go Duke go because he is a Blue Devil fan.
Showtime has the look of murder on her face right there.
We're 3-0. UNC is 4-0 and Duke is 4-0. So there's not.
So no one's lost in the Raleigh area. It is. I will say this because Sarah, you're going in and out again. I think one thing that's always fun with the Raleigh area is you have NC State, you have UNC, Chapel Hill, and then you have Duke, all within 30 minutes of each other. So it is an amazing rivalry for sure when it comes to basketball.
Apparently, Cal is the only Raleigh that's losing these days.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Nicely done.
Not again.
Vic says we'll see tonight. Tonight is the first test for Wolfpack basketball. So there you go. Tonight. We will start talking some college basketball here again. I do want to get into it, but right now, until the football stuff eases down, we've only got so much time. So this one, a big game for BYU. BYU can still get into the still get into the Big 12 championship game very easily to get their rematch against Texas Tech. This is really kind of the last test before that. So they do play Cincy, who was ranked 25. They're clearly not going to be ranked going into this game, but it is still a big game for BYU to keep that Big 12 hope alive of getting that rematch game in the Big 12 championship game.
Yep.
So are you back with us? Or are you still off?
I think I'm here.
There you are. Okay, I can hear you at least. Your camera's not moving, but at least we can see you can hear you. So.
Okay, cool. See, you were talking about like Pitt and Georgia Tech having a good chance. Whoever wins has a good chance of going in. I believe that for Georgia Tech, but I feel like if Georgia Tech wins, it's still going to be a little bit, obviously, more of a rocky path to get into the playoffs. I think especially since they did lose to Notre Dame. Obviously, the rankings haven't come out yet, but I don't see them being ranked right now.
I agree. They may not be. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of rankings, so when we last left, these were our rankings from 11-11, where you can kind of see where we had everybody going into that show. And then these were the official top 25 going into last week. So there wasn't really many changes from there. You had South Florida that got into it at 24. And again, remember the 5 automatic bids are your 5 top conference champions. So that's where these type of schools matter. So and I saw this a lot where they're like breaking down 5 versus 12 would be Georgia against BYU and 6 versus 11. No, it wouldn't, because I think a lot of these networks and stuff are forgetting that a 5th conference champion is going to get an automatic bid, and it's probably going to be the 12th seed. So somebody that's in the top 12 may not actually make it into the championship game for that reason. I think that's important for everyone to kind of remember when you see these rankings come out, that just because your team's in the top 12 does not necessarily mean that they're going to get in. It's the 4 conference champions, and technically it's the 5 highs, but let's be honest, the 4 power schools, those 4 are going to likely be in. There is some scenario, I guess, where the Sun Belt and American Conference champion could get in over the ACC, but I just would be shocked if that happens. So, so let's just all keep that in mind as we get into these rankings. And I think with that, we'll get into ours. How's that sound?
All right.
All right, so no surprise here. We all still have Ohio State number 1. So they all easily advanced through for us as our number 1 seeds. No change there. They destroyed UCLA. I mean, in this game, Smith only played like the first quarter. They had Tate not play at all this game. And Sayan played basically only the first 3 quarters, then they took him out. So there really was no surprise there for them. They're just rolling right along. They have 2 games left as they now sit at 10-0. Their 2 games are against Rutgers, and then of course the big one at Michigan. So that's their last hiccup to get into to get in against Indiana is against Michigan. Now, number 2, we see some changes. There's some changing going on here. Scooter, you moved Georgia up 3 to win the SEC. So it sounds like you've got Georgia beating Texas A&M in your Big 12 championship game, and that's why I assume you have Georgia at 2.
You got that right, Georgia. I mean, this game this past week, I mean, I'll take them.
You'll take it. I like it. Sarah moves Indiana up 1-2. So you moved Texas A&M down a spot. Was that because of that close call?
Yeah, I mean, I had the same standards applied last week when Indy had the close calls, so I assumed I should just probably do the same, as much as it hurt me to do that. But I just have to apply what my rules are as I'm going along this that are making up along the way.
I like that. I think that's important to be consistent. I moved Texas A&M up because I did have Alabama winning the SEC title game against Texas A&M, but now that Alabama's likely not going to be in there. It does look like it should be Georgia. After we break down our top 12, I'll go over who right now would be in line for each conference to make their conference championship games, because that is important, because again, those teams get the bye. They don't get a guarantee of a top 4 seed to get the bye in the thing, but they do get a automatic bid. That's what I should have said, so I apologize there. So Texas A&M moves up to number 2 for me. They're undefeated. They're the best team in the best conference. So I'll put them at 2. So interesting, we all have a different team at 2, which I kind of like. I like it when there's a bit of difference. So Scooter, you have Indiana, same spot. You had them at 3. I think your logic still applies. You had them losing to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, so that's why you had them at 3.
That's right. That should be a wonderful matchup too. Mendoza versus Sayan.
Yes.
Yeah. The 2 Heisman Trophy probables, which
Mendoza,
he just threw for 4 touchdowns.
Yep. It'll be interesting how Indiana does against that Ohio State defense. I'm really looking forward to that matchup. I think that's going to be interesting to see for sure.
But I think it's the Ohio State defense that wins that game, which propels Ohio State to continue its number 1 streak.
I agree. Sarah, you slide Texas A&M down 1, and now we know your reason why, but you still have them winning the SEC and hanging right there.
Exactly. I mean, they're still undefeated, and I have high confidence that they'll win the next couple games, even though they did have a close call. So
they play Samford next, so yes, they're going to win that one. And then they have the ending game is against Texas. So I can't see them. Texas could maybe. That's going to be Texas's bowl game at that point in time. So, and I think that is at Texas, if I remember correctly. But they're obviously going to beat Samford this week. That's kind of their tune-up game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have Indiana 3, same reason that Scooter does. I just think ultimately, and I think that's where Scooter and I have been kind of ranking these, and Sarah's kind of more doing kind of like what I think how the committee's actually doing this of what their best record is right now. I think Scott and I are kind of trying to predict of where these teams are going to end up at, and I think we'll see how that works for us, of course. But I think that's at least how I've been trying to approach it for sure. So, Scooter, you got Texas A&M right where you had them before, still at number 4.
Yeah, I saw them losing to Alabama before, and now I see them losing to Georgia
in the big game,
in
the big championship game. Sarah, you still have Texas Tech at number 4, right where you had them before. No movement from them there. I think they were idle this week, if I remember correctly. Let me pull them up. 9-1. They were idle, I think, this week. So they play Central Florida and West Virginia. So Texas Tech is going to get into the Big 12 championship game. I can't see them losing either one of those 2 games, or at least they should not lose. I moved Georgia up 3 from that big win. So they go up 3 spots, and they take advantage of the Alabama fall. So yes, I do. I have Texas A&M beating Georgia in the SEC championship game, which is why I have them 2-4. But I'm in agreement. I think the winner of the Big Ten, the winner of the Big Ten is probably the number 1 seed. The loser will be either 3 or 4, and the 2 SEC schools will be 2, 3, and 4 as well. I could see the scenario where they go the SEC 2 and 3 and sandwich the Big Ten. Do that sandwich that way. But we'll see how that all plays out. But I think we're kind of aligned on our thought process of those 2 conferences are going to be the 1 through 4 seeds. So number 5, you got Texas Tech there. I think you moved them up 5. Now this is because we were going to talk to you about this because you had them at 9 and then you're out, and we wanted to know why you had them so low. But you seem to have recalibrated and moved them back up into your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I moved them back up into the top 5. They win the Big 12, and I mean that's a big deal. So, and they are, I think, a top 5 team.
And
things fluctuate week to week, They
do. That's why we do this. That's why it's fun. Right. Showtime, you move up to 5, correct? It looks like you move Ole Miss up 1 spot.
Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
I'm okay. Cool. Yeah,
your
I moved
video's
Ole
off,
Miss
but we
up
can
1.
hear you fine.
Okay, well, it's whatever. It's fine. We'll take what we can get.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can't really explain it that well. I'm like you said, I'm kind of going off of how it is right now. But that's all I got.
I agree. I think so. And I have Ole Miss stays at my number 5. I think they're the third best school. I think they're the third best school in the SEC, and the SEC is the best conference. So they're 10-1. They've only got Mississippi State left. They do have a bye this week. Their only loss is on the road at Georgia, and that loss is looking better and better. I've got no problem with Ole Miss being in the top 5 and earning that 5-12 matchup at home. So, Scooter, you have Ole Miss 6, so kind of the same line of thinking, I'm assuming.
It was the same line of thinking, except I just think that Texas Tech winning the conference championship bumps them up to the 5.
I can't disagree with that. That happens, I think so. Sarah, you moved Georgia up 1 from their win against Oklahoma. Or not against Oklahoma. What did I say Oklahoma for? I had Oklahoma on my brain for coming up later, but you have Georgia up there from their big win.
From Texas, yeah. No, I mean, I have high confidence. I mean, I was obviously in between moving Georgia up 1 and putting Ole Miss at 6, but I still kind of feel comfortable where, like you said, going off of how it is right now. And I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I shouldn't even remember, but yeah.
So this is now I think I'm the one that moves, I think, Alabama down the least compared to you two. I moved Alabama down to number 4. They do have 2 losses. They finish off against Eastern Illinois and Auburn, so they're going to be 10-2. But the 2 losses are pretty good losses. I really can't, they lost to a Florida State team at the time that looked, pretty good, and now they lose to Oklahoma. Yes, the Oklahoma loss is at home, but I still think you notice I still don't even have Texas Tech up here yet, just because that's how much better I think the SEC is over the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And I get the line thinking that the champion of that might be higher, and that probably is how it will play out. But in my personal rankings, I'm putting the top conference schools higher. So you move Scott, you move Oregon up to 7, so you move them up 2. Anything from their play that's why you moved them up?
No, I think it just had to do with the juggling of other teams. So Oregon's just sort of, they'll just go with the wave. The wave has them moving up.
And Oregon has a big game this week. They play USC, then they get Washington, which again, Washington's been another one of those teams in the Big Ten. Like, that's an old Pac-12 rivalry there as well. So, and Oregon's Washington's one of those teams that they can beat you if you're not playing well. So, Oregon's got 2 tough games, and that's what I mean. I don't think Oregon is quite nailed where they can feel confident they're in. They've got to win these last 2 games, because I think.
I feel they'll win the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And winning those last 2 games puts them at 7.
Yeah, agree with that. And Sarah, you got them at 7 as well. Anything else to add in Oregon?
Nope.
And this is where I have Texas Tech. So I actually slid them down 1, not because of anything. It's just they had a bye week. They didn't play. They got to, that's just where I feel that the Big 12 is right now. So it's just, I just don't think the Big 12 is, other than it's very top heavy with the top 2 teams, and that's going to be it. So our first newbie, you move Oklahoma from their big win against Alabama all the way up to 8.
Yeah, that was a big, huge victory for those guys, for the Sooners, and that's going to move them right into a good top, number 8 spot right there.
I will. I'll wait. I'll give my comments to Oklahoma a little bit later, so I'll foreshadow for that. So I'll save that for mine. Sarah, you moved BYU up one.
Yes, I did. They won against TCU this week, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah, because now BYU is 9-1. They have Cincinnati left in UCF. They beat TCU.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure I'm good.
Yep.
Like I said, I mean, like with the standards I'm going with, trying to go from my undefeated to the 10-1s to the 9-1s, et cetera, et cetera. So these are still obviously in the one-loss team. So BYU, the loss against Texas Tech hurt them much, but figuring out that was probably the one loss that they're probably going to have for the rest of the season, I can feel comfortable.
All right. I agree with that. And I also have BYU at 8 for that same reason. I think the winner of this, these guys are set up for a rematch too, which will be big. I think, and that could help Texas Tech too. They win that game. I might convince myself to move them up into that 6-5 range. But for now, I'm going to have Texas Tech 7 and BYU 8. You move Alabama down 7 spots, Scooter, after that loss.
It's a big loss. It's a big loss. I think they're not going to be in the SEC championship, and not in the championship. You're going to move down.
I agree.
In that, especially in that conference. I mean, there's better teams in that conference after that loss. I mean, it's tough to lose at home, man.
Yep. Showtime, you still got Georgia Tech holding on to win the ACC championship game, and you move them up 1 spot to 9. I assume this is we lost her officially, so we'll get her back, and then we'll get those comments there. I have Oregon. They don't move for me. They stay at 9. I think that's just where the third best Big Ten team is right now. So I keep Oregon at 9 for me. You slide Notre Dame down 2 spots to number 10.
Keep them in. Keep them in. I mean, Oklahoma moved up. Oregon moved up. Notre Dame went down. But I think they won Notre Dame in.
Okay. There we go. Sarah, you look like you're back. You moved JMU up to 10. Is this still sticking with that whole one-loss principle, right?
Yeah. Can you tell?
I can tell. I don't mind it. Hey, like you said, if you're going to go this way, you're being consistent with it, and so I think that's all that anyone wants is a consistency with it. So you're doing that for sure. I do move Oklahoma up to 10. This is my new add-on, and it was between 3 teams, and ultimately I moved up Oklahoma because I like their wins between Michigan, Tennessee, and Alabama. Their only losses are at Texas and at home to Ole Miss. So 2 really good losses. I just think Oklahoma wins are better than the first teams that I have out, which are Vandy, Notre Dame, and Miami. So that's why I put Oklahoma in, because I think that their wins are better. Now, Scooter, so you have your ACC champion, Virginia.
That's
your
right.
new ACC champions, and you have them in the 11th spot as basically the lowest of those 4 power schools that would get
That's
it.
right. Yeah. I think they're good enough to make it in. They win the championship. They're in.
So there you go, Nails. If you're still winning, there's your Virginia. Someone does have Virginia in it. So and so Sarah, you move Oklahoma, or you had them in last week, so you have them at 11 this week. You have them, or no, this is their first time in for you too. I forgot to put new by that. So same thing with their big win. I assume that gets them why you put them in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this
Poor girl.
hating on Alabama.
Yep, you're having a fun connection day.
Yeah, sorry. But I don't know if you heard it, but clock it at me. I love hating on Alabama, so I will take it whatever I can get, and this is how I do it. So
now it's amazing with Showtimes because she has all 5 conference championships in by 10. So she's got 11 and 12 just hanging out there for whoever. One is Oklahoma.
Yep.
Should be interesting to see who's 12. I bet it's not Alabama.
We'll see. All right, so my number 11 is Georgia Tech. The same thing. I do have them winning the ACC, and that's who's going to be there. So I just think they're ones that right now that should win the ACC. So that's where we have them. Your number 12, you had them here last week. You keep JMU right now, or no, they're new because you did originally have, I think, the South Florida, if I remember correctly. So you have them now since
you had JMU in. I think the last time. I think JMU the last time. Now that could change too because I mean, I'm looking at the American Conference out here, and you got Navy, Tulane, and North Texas. They're all have one losses in the conference, and only Navy has 2 losses overall. So that could be a conference that overtakes the Sun Belt. We'll see. But right now, I got JMU.
I agree, and it seems like so far with the real committee that they seem to be favoring this American champion win. Like, well, we'll see maybe this week. Now, I will say this for JMU. Look, it's not that Washington State is a great Power 4 or 5 conference school, whatever you want to say, but it is still a Power 5 school, and they play Washington State this week. If JMU can just go and rock a Washington State team, I think that helps them. But we'll see what happens this week. And then their last game after that, they play Coastal Carolina, which is one of their other rivals. So we'll see how that goes for them. But they clearly have to win out to get in. They have to win those 2 games and win their conference championship game to get in. That's the only way that JMU is going to get into this thing. All right. So, Sarah, you do keep Alabama in it, moving down 7 to your. So you have
good for you, though. Good for you.
The best of that group, it seems like.
I just want you to appreciate my artwork where I have JMU above Alabama. Can we just really appreciate that? That's how far my petting is.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So I have JMU winning the Sun Belt. So let's go here with this. So your first team out, Scooter, is BYU.
Yeah, they're the first team out. I mean, and Georgia Tech numbers game. BYU specifically. I just think there's too many good teams up there, and then you got to put in that 5th conference in there. For me, the Big 12 loses out, and so does the ACC and Georgia Tech. They would be like 14.
Okay. So let me make this sense. You had BYU above Texas Tech last week, even though they lost, and now they're completely out.
Completely out.
Hey, it's week by week.
I got to go by week by week.
The dots connecting. The dots don't connect.
And the only thing I could say is, okay, remember at the back of the day, it was like, oh my God, they picked the championship teams for you. It's like 1 and 2. Right. It's like, and everyone complained, like teams 3 and 4 complained. I get it. Then it was the top 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oh, we're not in now, and everyone's like, oh, they need to put more teams in. And now you're going to get 13, 14, and 15 complaining,
Exactly.
They just open it up to everything, so don't complain. Not you specifically, Showtime.
We know what you meant. All right, and so Showtime, you've got Notre Dame, Virginia, North Texas, and Vandy has your kind of first teams out.
I'm just confused.
And you do take Virginia out. Virginia was the one that came out for your Oklahoma team going in. My first teams out are Vandy. And
I couldn't decide.
No, you're right. I think realistically of those teams there, because if you see, like I've got 3 in it now as well. Like I have, and they would go in this order. Like my first team out would be Vandy. The reason why is because they have wins over South Carolina, Missouri, and LSU. Their losses are at Texas and at Alabama. For Notre Dame, their losses are at A&M and Miami. Their big wins are USC, Navy, and Pitt. I just think Vandy's wins are better than Notre Dame. And the same thing for Miami. Their losses are at SMU and at Louisville. Their wins are Notre Dame and South Florida and Florida State. Decent wins. And that's where it's hard for me because I do want to reward Miami for beating Notre Dame. I think that means something. Yeah. So if ultimately push comes to shove, when we get closer and closer to this thing going out, that's going to still maybe mean something to me. But the problem for Miami is that, like I said, they may not be able to get into the ACC championship game. I just, it's going to be really hard for them to get into it. There's the 4 teams ahead of them with 1 loss. They do still play Pitt after this, afterwards. So we'll see how that goes for them. They've got a chance still, but they're going to need some help to get into that ACC championship game, and they can't lose again. For sure. Right. So there are our top 12. Real quick, I do want to catch up on some of these comments. Sideline Junkies, aka KG, who is a huge Notre Dame fan, he gives that. We did have a few off-topic comments, but I do want to throw them in here because they're checking into the show. So Chuck talking about, because Gentleman Jack did bring up the basketball in the Raleigh area. Tar Heels already have a quad 1 win, so there's that. So he's going into that. I'm not going to say that one because then Vic just commented about his Tar Heels comment. Boo. Then they could talk about Caleb Wilson is a star who is playing for UNC, and Chuck N is so happy he's on our team. I'd hate to play against him. Wish he was all around when players stayed at the school they chose for 4 years. He's ridiculously talented. Well, that's true about guys staying at school for 4 years. Vic says, I think he'll be a lottery pick in the NBA next year. They are already saying top 5. And then that makes sense. So there they are talking about that. So their own little offbeat conversation about UNC, NC State, mostly UNC basketball in that case. So there we go. So there we go. We are all caught up on the comments. I do real quick. Let me pull this up here real quick because I didn't have it written down. So we talk about these 5 automatic bids, which are your conference champions. So let me bring this up here real quick. Thought I had it ready, but then I don't. Your Big Ten is, of course, Indiana and Ohio State are on that collision course right now. I don't really see anything that is taking them off of that collision course. That should be how that all plays out, of course. And then pulling these up, their standings up here real quick. So we talked about the American, Navy, and Tulane. Now I'm assuming that I'm looking at the ESPN app for those that want to know. I'm assuming that they know the tiebreakers and how that would play out. They have Navy and Tulane currently. That would be the 2 teams in the American Conference Championship game, but they both have conference games to play, so we'll see how that plays out. That would be your American Conference Championship right now. The ACC would be Georgia Tech and Virginia. Pitt and SMU are the other teams with just 1 loss. And again, Pitt plays, a couple of these teams, so you got the big battle this week with Pitt and Georgia Tech. So one of them is going to play themselves into a second loss there. The Big 12 is still Texas Tech and BYU. Utah is right there as well at 5-2, and Utah is high up in the college football playoff rankings by as far as everyone else goes. And then you also have a couple other teams with 2 losses, but it's Texas Tech and BYU unless one of them just gets upset. We've already talked about the Big Ten. Conference USA, I don't really see either one of these schools being in it, but Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky are leading the Conference USA standings right now, with Kennesaw State right behind. Then in the Mid-American, it's Western Michigan and Central Michigan right now. Central Michigan is in a logjam of 5 teams. They're tied at 4-2, but again, you don't have to worry about the Mid-Am. The MAC is not going to have it. The Mountain West could be an interesting one. You got San Diego State and Fresno State up top there, and San Diego State is 8-2. Maybe a surprise there that could come from there. And then the SEC right now is Texas A&M and Georgia. Mississippi's right on the outside if somebody does falter, but I think Georgia's actually done with all of they've played their only games left are non-conference games, because Georgia plays Georgia Tech, which is a non-conference game, and then they play Charlotte. So Georgia's going to likely be in that championship game with them being done at 7-1. And then the Southern Belt is JMU and Coastal Carolina. Or JMU leads the Eastern Conference. Southern Miss leads the West. So that Coastal Carolina game, they can't beat them, but that's going to knock them down a peg or 2 because they have 2 losses in the conference. So there are your conference standings going into this week. All right. Any other thoughts here on the college football here before we get into some NFL stuff?
No.
All right. Well, we'll start with the Scooter and I. For those that play fantasy football, we are in an interesting week this week because we are both in 2 leagues together, and this week we happen to be playing each other in both of those leagues. What's kind of funny going into tonight's game is in one league, the what we call the money league that I run, which is with money up for grabs. I'm currently beating Scott, but Scott is projected to still win that game. Or no, I've got a flip-flop. In that one, you're currently winning that game, but I'm projected with the players I've got going tonight to come back and win that. And then in the Sideline Junkies League, which I am still currently undefeated, Scooter is projected to beat me, but right now I'm beating him. What's kind of funny about this all is that in the one, I've got Genty, Bowers, and Carlson going tonight, and then you don't have any players going, but you are up 27 points. And I never like going into the Monday night game down because you just, even though you're supposed to get the even though you're supposed to get the points, you just never know that that's going to actually happen. I mean, in theory, those 3 guys should get me 27 points. And then the Silent Junkies League, you're up 24. I have Genty, you have Prescott, Ferguson, and Carlson, or I'm up 24, but I've only got Genty going. You've got 3 players going. So what's interesting is I have Carlson in one league. You have Carlson in the other league. So there's a real chance tonight that Carlson either makes or misses a field goal that allows me to win and allows you to win, or vice versa in the 2 leagues, which is really kind of crazy that a kicker could make up the decision for both of us and it will be a completely different effect.
That's right. That's going to be great.
Yep. So that leads us into this amazing Monday night game tonight, which is the Dallas Cowboys at 3-5-1 against the Vegas Raiders at 2-7. I'm sure everyone's TVs will be tuned into this amazing game with these huge implications of which team sucks more. The Raiders are just a complete disappointment. Geno Smith has not been good. I think he's hurt and he's still trying to play. Pete Carroll has not turned this thing around like I thought he would too. Not saying to give up on the ship just yet. I mean, the offensive line is Swiss cheese and then some. Dallas should win this game. They should win it easily. Their offense should be able to put up a lot of points, but Dallas also seems to lose these games. So who knows what we're in for tonight. I'm just hoping that my two fantasy teams win.
Me too.
Sir, any thoughts since I've molded you into the warpness that is a Raider fan?
So you're obviously Dallas should win this, but like you said, it's Dallas. They tend to do these things. I'm honestly really debating it because in the Talking Fantasy, I have where the Raiders winning it and the pick come, and I'm scared it's going to either be my ride or die.
Oh.
Because if I can pull it off, then I can tie for first place.
Oh.
But if I don't, I'm 2 games behind.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have picked the Raiders on that one.
I can change it, but I'm trying to trying to convince myself to keep it.
If you change it, then the Raiders will win. Like that's the first.
That's what I'm saying. So
that's the first. Yeah, you're either way. Whatever you do, it's going to be wrong because if you change it, the Raiders will win, and if you don't change it, the Cowboys are going to win. That's the
yeah.
Vic throwing in his sadness for his poor teams. Sarah, before you do Dancing with the Stars update, I need a pep talk for his fans team who only put up 52 points this week. In fairness, he was without Jonathan Taylor. It was the Indy's bye week, so
yeah.
And look, he went up against a guy that had a great week. So I'd rather not score a lot of points when I'm going up against somebody that has a career win, because at least then you have no what ifs in your lineup. You're like, oh, if I would have played this guy, there's no what ifs when you get crushed that bad. So
if it makes you feel better, Vic, my fantasy hockey team is 2-4.
Ouch, tough start. All right. Speaking of some big NFL games, we did have some big ones this week. Yeah, right. Jacksonville crushes the Chargers. I'm not surprised that Jacksonville won this game. The Chargers had a lot of people hurt, but I was still surprised that it was 35-6. Herbert was just not good. Good old Gus was not good for San Diego. I have him in that Sideline Junkies League. He scored me a whopping 5 points at the quarterback position. So it's not good to have that happen. The running game for Jacksonville just dominated, 192 yards between Tutton, Etween, and Allen and Lawrence. They just ran all over the Chargers.
Jacksonville rushed, go for it.
The Bills, this game was a shootout. It was fun to watch. The Bills outlast Tampa Bay 44-32 in a back-and-forth crazy game. Josh Allen scores 6 touchdowns. Speaking of fantasy football, if you had Josh Allen starting this week, you were a very, very happy person.
I mean, he's certainly he's a playing legend right now. The dude just needs to win a Super Bowl.
I know. I hope he does it this year with Buffalo, but we'll see.
Some year he will.
Yes. The Bears beat the Vikings on the last second field goal. They had the lead and then kind of, screwed it up for a little bit, but then came back to win a 48-yard field goal by Carlos Santos, wins it for them. I'll save some more of my Bears clothing for a little bit later when we show the standings. Because remember, who picked everyone, who picked Chicago to be a surprise team and make the playoffs? And everyone thought I was batshit crazy, but we'll save that for when we show the standings.
BSC.
I am batshit crazy, but just maybe not about this. And then what was the class matchup with the NFC West, the Rams and the Seattle, the battle for the NFC West, the Rams. It's funny with Sam Darnold when he looks bad, he looks really bad, and that was one of those games. He had 4 interceptions. The Rams, but the Seattle stayed in the game despite that. They only, the final score was 21-19. They had a chance late as well. But yeah, it's hard to win a game when your quarterback throws 4 interceptions.
You're gonna have bad games out there, but that's a good division right there.
It is, and I do want to say this. I don't know if you saw that game or not, but the Rams jerseys, those things were beautiful. Those were some great looking jerseys that they wore yesterday. Those should now be their new permanent jerseys because those were amazing looking. Is there anything on any of these games? I don't know if you saw much of the NFL action or not.
I'm just surprised there's no Duval Paul in here.
Yeah, I know. He's been quiet lately. I don't know. I know work's been busy for him too. So, and then the big matchup, Denver gets that marquee win against Kansas City to really put Kansas City's playoff hopes on the ropes. 22-19. Denver's defense just really played really well. They win it on the last second 35-yard field goal. This game again was back and forth. Wasn't much beyond 7 points for either one either way. But Denver gets the big win.
Very well-rounded team, Denver. And, it doesn't matter how you beat KC as long as you beat KC.
Just win. Exactly.
Yeah. And offensively, KC has a good defense too. So Denver, shows that Denver's offense, they're really good, but their defense is outstanding.
Agree. Anything on the KC loss, Sarah?
Do you guys hate KC?
Do I? Well, you know my answer to that. I hate KC. Like that's a no-brainer of all, no-brainers of me not liking Kansas City.
No problem with them. Yeah, and they're fine. I don't mind. I like Patrick Mahomes. He's a cool guy.
No, he's not. He has the personality of a brick.
That's okay. I like him. He's fun. He's fun to watch. I don't like his brother. I don't like either of them. His brother's annoying, but Patrick's cool.
All right. Then we have last night's game. Philly just crushes Detroit. Detroit was. I don't know if it was that Philly's defense played really well, or just Goff was just really bad. He did miss some really bad throws last night. Just not a good game for Detroit at all. 16-9 was the final score. Both of these offenses struggled. So I'm not 100% certain it was the good defense or not, but that was a tough one to watch last night.
So the interesting thing, I forget what they call it, like APR or something like that, but this for Philly offensively, this was their worst game in 3 years. However, defensively, it was their second best game over the past 3 years. And that's how you win games like this.
Defense wins, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's take a quick peek at the standings because we are getting to that fun point in time. Teams are, we're talking, we're getting down there where it's fun kind of looking at this. New England just 9-2. I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card. That New England would be leading the AFC East at 9-2. The Steelers are hanging on for dear life at 6-4. They got a big win this week against Cincinnati. Indy running kind of away with the AFC South at 8-2 as well. And then you have Denver now firm grip on that AFC West at 9-2 as well. So your division leaders are starting to get a little bit of space other than the AFC North. What's kind of interesting right now, if you look at that playoff picture, the Chiefs would be out. Your three wildcard teams would be the Chargers, Buffalo, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars would be in. Still a lot of football left to go, but the fact that in the AFC there is maybe a chance where you don't have Kansas City and Baltimore in the playoffs. Is that right?
That's how it's looking right now. The thing when I say the AFC East, New England and Buffalo, they still got to play a game against each other.
They do.
And now New England's good. There's no question about that. But as I after this week, I said, the New England Patriots of this year are the Washington Commanders of last year.
I agree.
Brand new defensive head coach, very good coaches, very successful as they've been as head coaches. Shiny new, really good quarterback. Oh, that's and they're up there. They beat Buffalo already once. Washington beat Philly last year in December. So an interesting thing is the Patriots, they have the last place schedule, just like Washington. So they're beating teams that they should be beating, and if you're a decent team. And so it's just really interesting that way. So we'll see how they do next year. But New England, they'll lose in the AFC Championship game.
It's funny that you said that, Scooter, because when I was walking dog before the show, I was thinking to myself, like, wow, New England maybe is kind of like what Washington was last year. And for you to say that makes me feel better because you're a Commanders fan. So if you say it, then it's okay. If I would have said that, who knows, but I'm in agreement with you on that. I think they are taking advantage of their schedule. They're beating the teams. And I think, people probably took New England lightly. What's kind of crazy, if you go back to week 1, New England lost to the Raiders in week 1 and the Raiders kind of pounded them. So, I mean, who knows what they could be if they would have won that game. But, they're sitting there, and your record is what your record is. So they're 9-2, and they're likely going to be in no matter what.
They're 9-2. They're likely to be in. They should be in. And so although I still see Buffalo going up. And the one thing the Patriots are doing is they're beating most of these teams that they're beating are bad quarterback play, bad quarterbacks. Washington did that all last year. They even lucked out on a few games too. But I mean, okay, so they did beat Buffalo, and obviously they have Josh Allen, who's going to be a legend at some point. And they beat Tampa, who they have Baker Mayfield, very good quarterback. And at the time, Baker Mayfield, he was my MVP at the time. So they had beat 2 good quarterbacks too. So there's that.
Agree. Yep. Anything on the AFC, Sarah, you want to add? Uh-oh. Lost her again. All right, we'll keep moving on. The NFC, Philly's running away with the East. Tampa Bay, we'll get into that. The Rams win. This is where the NFC is where it's fun. You got the Eagles, just other than the NFC East, you have the leading team in the NFC North is the Bears at 7-3. They just find ways to win, which I said, if they figure out ways to win games, look out for this team. And they're still not getting the greatest play from Caleb Williams, and they're still finding ways to win. So if he can keep going, look out. In the NFC West, you got the Rams, who now leading the Seahawks by a game. You have San Francisco game and a half out, but Tampa Bay better get going, because don't look now, but the Carolina Panthers are only a half game behind Tampa Bay for first place in the NFC South. Sarah, how do you feel about your Carolina Panthers being the Carolina side of things? Just dancing? I think either you're on mute or we still can't hear you.
Am I even
there
here?
You go.
Let's
now you're
clarify
back. If
people can hear
now you're
me.
Here. Now we can.
I'm not on mute.
There. Yeah, you just got your.
Okay, I'm here.
There you go. Yes.
Okay. Just have to reiterate that we have beat the Atlanta Falcons now 3 times. Yeah. It's so beautiful. I love this. I love this so much. Yeah. I mean, Tampa's lost to. Who did they lose to? Is blanking. Who did
Tampa,
they lose
Buffalo.
to?
Buffalo this week.
Tampa lost to Buffalo. Yes. Sorry. So Tampa's lost to Buffalo obviously does not help things, because I kind of thought they were going to win that game. I can't really explain the vision. I just had one. But yeah. So what is the remainder of the Carolina schedule though? I don't know that. Are we talking about that?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to matter. They seem to beat teams.
Schedule.
They do, which is nice.
Am I lost?
It is nice.
Nope, we still got you. I just can't pull up their schedule right now. So, yeah, we'll have to look at that later. Scott, any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, one thing we're seeing is, I mean, Philly's doing what Philly does.
Cool. I'm trying to look at the remainder of the schedule. Okay, so I think.
So you're going in and out still, kiddo. Go ahead, Scoot.
One thing. Well, but I mean, one thing we're seeing here is Dave Canales, Ben Johnson looking at your front runners for NFL head coach of the year if they continue this up. I mean, Ben Johnson, I mean, you would expect him. I mean, 7-3 is not what I expect, but you're expecting 5 wins at this point. I mean, Carolina Panthers, you're expecting like 1. So good on Canales for getting that team together. I'm liking Carolina, what I see.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. You want to try it again, Sarah? Try it again. Go for it.
Okay. So if I stand corrected, I'm pretty sure the next couple of games that Carolina, they play Tampa, then play the 49. Nope. I literally just had it.
I think you might be right. It might be the 49ers, because
Oh
I know
my
they do have some tough
gosh.
games coming up.
Am I still even? I'm okay.
Yeah, you're here.
Okay, yeah. So Buccaneers. Oh wait, no, where is it? Okay, no, 49ers, Rams, Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
a very
brutal
interesting
end.
pattern.
We'll find out about Carolina with these games. So
we could
Midnight Ride.
maybe win. We should win against.
yeah, They should. Midnight checking in. I think he's talking about the Washington comment about New England, Washington, that he made that comment yesterday as well. So I think we're all on the same path there. So good stuff for sure. It's going to be fun as we get closer. Let's see. We're already at 6:15. Real quick, let's get some hockey in here too. It's kind of crazy to think, folks, but we are 20 games almost into the season. We're almost a quarter of the way done. So you're just about that point now where you're like, like we're through that first 10 little game stretch where you're like, okay, who's looking what here? And so you're kind of starting to get an idea now. The Eastern Conference is just a mad scramble. There's no way to put this. First place in the Atlantic is separated by 8 points to last place. In the Met, it's a little bit bigger. It's 9 points. But the race from playoff spot to the bottom of the conference is only like 4 to 6 points. So any one of these teams goes on a 3 to 4 game heater and wins 3 or 4 games, they're going to be right back in it. Vice versa, if you lose 3 or 4 in a row, you're going to be looking in trouble. But Boston leading the way in the Atlantic, they still, at 12-8, 24 points. Detroit right there at 23. Montreal and Ottawa is at 22. In the Metro, New Jersey leading the way at 27 points. Carolina, despite all their injuries, hanging around with 25 points at the top of it. And then Pittsburgh kind of maybe finally starting to come back a little bit at 24 points. Then you have the Islanders and Rangers. I know we have a lot of Capitals fans. I know 8-8-2, which is what we call NHL 500, maybe doesn't look that great, but hang in there. They're getting good goaltending. I'm not that worried yet about the Capitals and their ability to get back into this thing.
Right.
Scott, any thought on the Eastern Conference there?
Yeah, the one thing that's interesting are goal differentials. So, like the Devils are +9, the Kings are +14, the Pens are +12. So it's really interesting. The top teams up there are really, they're up there. Boston's +2, not too good. The Wings are -2, not too good. The Canadians are -2, not too good. So it's interesting. These are some of the better teams in the conference. So you look at some of that would be wildcard teams if we had that done in a wildcard team way. The Islanders are -1. The Senators are -1. But it's interesting because then you go and there's 2 teams that are not in the playoff race. You mentioned Washington. They're +3, and they're not in the playoffs yet. The Rangers, they're +2 because those 2 teams get unbelievable goaltending, but they're not scoring at all. Especially the Rangers. But so that's what I'm seeing really, really tough on this. So we're seeing teams like the Caps and the Rangers. All those 2 teams have to do is start scoring, and they're going to get themselves right back in it.
Agree. Anything on the East, Sarah?
I just need to point out how the New York Rangers are still not good. I can't remember if it was last night's game, but I know it was like sometime earlier this week. It was Detroit versus New York. Detroit won in overtime. Or no, it wasn't in overtime. They just had an empty netter game. And they won. And then they had the entire brawl, I'm pretty sure, where they emptied their benches.
After the game.
That made me realize how much I love the new Detroit jerseys. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, the jerseys look sharp, and I get why it happened because Detroit fired the puck in on an empty net or on goal after the whistle, after the horn. That just is always going to irk the team that you do that against. But yeah, the Rangers at home is just, I think they've won 1 game at home this year, but then they go on the road and they win every game on the road. They are just they are a weird team for sure.
I'm sorry, you mentioned the jerseys real quick with last night's Rangers Red Wings game. Okay, so they were both wearing their home jerseys, which is so cool. Mm-hmm. Blue versus red. Yes. That was pretty cool.
It looks sharp, and they definitely look sharp. Both teams look sharp, and it was fun to see both teams wearing those 100-year-old jerseys. So, I do like it. I hope these teams are celebrating it, because they're all wearing these type of jerseys. I hope when they play each other that they will continue to do that when they can and the colors allow them to. I hope they keep doing that. So out west, it's Colorado Avalanche's show, and everybody else is just in it right now. They are the best team in hockey right now at 13-1-5. They just keep rolling. They're getting good goaltending from Blackwood, and of course Nathan McKinnon is leading his record for MVP for sure. Dallas is hanging around, and then you got a lot of teams kind of in the thick of it between Winnipeg, Chicago, Minnesota, and Utah. St. Louis and Nashville bringing up the rear. The Pacific is kind of the surprise. The Kings are leading it. Anaheim is second. Seattle is third, and then finally comes Vegas and Edmonton. But again, 2 points separates first from fifth in that division. So, and then you have San Jose, who's been better than last year, and then you just have Calgary, who's just not getting anywhere. So it's not looking good for them. But that Pacific division, 2 points separating first to fifth.
Yeah, and in the Central, I mean, you're seeing Colorado and Dallas they're two legit really good. I mean, I think I have both of them playing each other in the conference finals or something like that. I have Dallas winning the whole thing. So 31 and 27 points. And here's another interesting thing about how bad the conference is on the low end is that we'll go back to goal differential. In the East, there's only one team that's -10 or worse, and that's the worst team, the Sabres. They're -13. So you have three teams here. You have the Blues, they're -22. You have the Predators, they're -21, and the Flames are -19. I mean, that's just bad. They're not scoring, they're giving up goals. Bad, bad, bad.
Agree. It is bad. Any thoughts on the West, Sarah? You there? Bugs? Uh-oh. Well, we may have lost.
I'm
There
still
you are.
kind of obviously shocked about. Am I here?
Yep, here you are.
It's like Interstellar.
I'm here. Am I here?
Go. Quickly, before you lose it again.
Okay. Still obviously surprised about Anaheim. I really wish St. Louis would do better because I kind of like expected them to do more. Also surprised about Chicago.
Yeah, they're playing well. 9-5. Well, Spencer Knight, it's like, you get good goaltending, you always have a shot. That's what we always say. All right, so hopefully, let's see if we can get this, Sarah. Go quick. Dancing with the Stars update. Let's see if we can get it all in before you lose it.
Okay, I'm here though, right? I'm here.
Yes, you are. Go.
I'm not even here. Am I? Oh my gosh. Okay. So oh my gosh, I can't even tell. Okay. So how we started off this last week is I asked Dad if he thought that Andy was still in the competition. I'm going to start with that again. Do we think Andy is still in the competition?
I'm going to say, since you're asking this question, that answer must be yes, he is.
Wrong. It finally happened. It finally happened. He's gone. He's gone, guys. He's gone.
Bye, Andy.
Which, I mean, unfortunately made sense because tomorrow is the finale. Since we have Robert Irwin and Whitney Carson, Dylan Efron and Daniela Karagak, and Whitney Levitt, bitch, and Mark Ballas, Alex Earl and Val Tremosky, Elaine Hendricks and Alan Burston, and then that's it. That's your final five. Okay. So a couple notes from last week. It was the 20th anniversary. Dad, they had Tom Bergeron be a guest host on here.
Nice. The original.
Remember Dom?
I do.
Yeah. Yes. So they had that. So it was a very nice. They kind of had like a lot of their dances were just like kind of commencing the other dances that they've had in the past seasons. The judges were loving things because Robert got a perfect score, Dylan got a perfect score, Bitch got a perfect score, and then Alex got a perfect score. The only people that obviously did not get a perfect score was Andy. He got a 29 out of 40. And then Elaine, she got a 36 out of 40, which I don't know what is going on with the underscoring of Elaine Hendricks, but I need it to stop, okay? It's not great. Okay. Next week, the finale, it is going to be Prince Week, Dad.
Prince Week. So Prince
Week.
songs I'm
Prince
going with,
songs.
right? Okay. So
I'm assuming.
someone's gonna sing the Let's Go Crazy. Then it's gotta be When Doves Cry. Maybe 1999. I don't know. I don't know what type of.
Gotta be
It's gotta be.
1999. Oh.
Diamonds and Pearls could be a good good song, I think, to dance to. I could see that one being one of them for sure. All right. Well, I like Prince Week. That's a good move. Be interesting to see what they pull out for. You have to tell me the song choices for the Prince songs.
I know. I was doing it for Rock and Roll Night too. That one.
There were some weird choices for that, but I think it was because I think they're doing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so that gave them a little bit more leeway than just classic rock. But I digress.
We will start it because next time you hear is who won Dancing with the Stars. I think because it's gonna be. Is it 2 week? Let's talk about it. Is it Tuesday next week or Monday?
I believe we're going to be Monday, but don't quote me on that yet. Until Matt comes over here to work on the basement tomorrow, and I know his schedule for the next week, I won't know for sure. But I think we're going to be Monday.
Okay. So this is going to go with what my predictions are going to happen, and then what I want to happen.
Okay.
What I want to happen: Robert Irwin to win, Alex Earl gets second place, Dylan gets third, Elaine gets fourth, and Bitch gets last place. What I think is going to happen: Elaine is going to get last place, Dylan's going to get fourth, Alec is going to get third, Robert is going to get second, and I have a feeling that Whitney Levitt is going to win Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, that's going to not make you happy.
Okay, I have to talk about this now because this is important. So season 3, I don't watch this show, but it's over my TikTok, so I have to connect the dots. Season 3 of Secret Lives and Mormon Lives has come out, and there has been more coverage going on so than ever. Whitney Levitt has actually left Mom Talk apparently, and it's literally discussed how she left Mom Talk because she wanted tickets to the Oscars, and I think she was trying to find a way to be on Broadway shows.
We're like Mom Talk from Long Island?
Yeah. I don't know. It's Mom Talk from more so like, Utah, like Salt Lake, Provo, that kind of stuff. Places. But yeah, so, and it's literally discussed how Whitney Levitt left, and she took Dancing with the Stars, so how she's kind of gaining fame. And I'll give her credit because she's being honest about it. And it makes you think because you also have that Taylor girl going on The Bachelorette. So it seems like all these people are working up their ways of finding different ways to find fame, but then they get mad at each other for finding different ways to find fame. It's really great. But I have a feeling that Whitney Levitt could be possibly seeing it. It didn't happen this week, but she might not win just because of everything that's been posted with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, because that's going on at the same time. I don't know what's going on because, again, I don't watch the show, but this is the information that I have, and I think it's important to mention that Whitney Levitt is obviously not a good person, which I'm not shocked about that at all. But, yeah, now I had to know.
Well, there you have it. There's the whole rant.
I think I got most of it.
Next time I have to set you up for that with what grinds your gears, because that was almost like what grinds your gears right there. That was right there at that level. We could have done it that way instead of Dancing with the Stars for sure. So yeah, she did get through it all. We actually heard you, so that's good. So I'm happy we got through it all unscathed there. So. All right, well, folks, we're hitting 6:27 here, and we got some shows coming up here after us, so we should be wrapping up here. So we do that. I do believe right now next week will be on Monday. I'll put it out there if it's going to be on Tuesday. We'll have actually maybe a Dancing with the Stars finale discussed, unless it's 2 weeks. Will there be changes to our playoffs from another week of college football fun and then the NFL playoff picture? I'm going to also be doing, and I'm working on this here. It's going to take me a couple of weeks to put this all together. It's going to be a special edition of Drive Time about is legalized gambling ruining sports. So if you are on the Sideline Junkies 24/7 page, I put up 4 different poll questions. So if you're watching this, if you could go in there and answer those poll questions, because those poll results are going to be part of the show. So I'm working on kind of that, because there's just between this whole Clase Ortiz thing just really has me fired up / concerned about this type of stuff. And I think it's an important subject of these different things doing that. So that's going to be a future show. I'm just still kind of putting it all together and getting all my facts straight to ramble off at everybody. And that's what's down the road for us. And then, man, we've had another show, ladies and gentlemen. This is now your new Sideline Junkies podcast network lineup. So you got the Pretenders and Contenders coming up tonight with Coach Powell at 7. I think he's going to be recapping some of the playoffs there in that Laurel, Maryland area of what happened in the playoff football race. And then you have the debut of Unapologetic Sports should happen tomorrow at 6:30. And then, of course, the regular Tuesday night flight with the guys at 7:45. They will round up their own top 12 version that they're going to do as well, I think, start now. And then they're going to have their list of the top 5 quarterbacks in college football, along with the recap of the nickel. Then Wednesday, there's a new basketball show, Nothing But Net. That's been on now for a couple of weeks with a couple of the guys. It's a quick, like 20-minute recap of what's going on in basketball. So if you're a hoops fan, you definitely want to check out that show. Then in the passenger seat, one of our great interview shows that the Gentleman Jack does an amazing job is on Wednesday nights as well. Then you got the Thursday night throwdown, the Gridiron, which is the best fictitious football show in the history. Then, of course, the guys that started all the WrestleManiacs on Saturday night. And then you have the Sunday morning rise as well. Boss man BJ checking in, giving us some props on a great show. Do appreciate that, sir. Appreciate you listening in. So there we have it. There is our show for today. Sarah, any last second thoughts?
Two things. Bossby, I need you to choose the I need you to choose the Raiders. Yes, because then me choosing the Raiders doesn't look bad if we lose and we both lose. But then, if they win, then, we both get the win. Okay. So I need you to not choose opposing to me. Okay. Thank you. I'm just going off of hope and dreams here. Third thing I will mention, just because it is my alma mater, Clayton High is going to be reaching the 3rd round. I think. I don't know who we're playing yet, but we did. We're number 3, and we beat number 21 New Hanover. I think we actually just completely shut them out. I think it was like 21-0. So nice. Clayton Comets are in the 3rd round. I know Coach Devon does that too. He's got playoff predictions going on. So.
Yep. I can't. Well,
did I get lost during that?
No. You stayed that whole time there too. That was good. Scooter, what do you got?
I'd just like to say goodbye to Matt Gay, the former now Washington Commander field goal kicker, who he's a really nice guy. He took all the faults for missing all his field goals. He blamed himself for the game yesterday when he missed a game, another field goal there. And the one thing we did know is he does miss 32% of his kicks. So bye, Matt Gay. It was nice to know you. Can't wait to see who comes in next.
Yeah, it's funny with kickers in the NFL when you don't have a good one. It seems like it always comes out to show when it goes wrong.
I guess you could say you get kicked to the curb.
No, yeah, he did kick all his extra points. He's 100% in extra points, but you can't miss 32% of your field goals.
Look at Sarah with a little jab there, gets kicked to the curb. Very well done. Very nicely done. I like that. Yeah. A couple of good little one-liners here today. All right. My final thoughts are I just hope that my Raiders just don't absolutely get destroyed tonight by Dallas, but I'm fearful it could be like a 45-10 type game. So I have no confidence in this team right now at all. So we'll see. But then Carolina plays Boston tonight in a big Eastern Conference showdown in the NHL side. So hopefully that will give me some better vibes and some better thoughts. So we shall see. But anyway, that's it. We said our piece for today. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for everyone in the comments. It's nice seeing the comments so lively today. So do appreciate that. As I say at the end of every show, make sure that you hug your loved ones. Tell them that you love them because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Hopefully everyone will be back with us next week. And until then, we will see you all later.
Boom, 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 boom.